Hello beautiful humans and welcome back to my channel. My name's Kayla. If you're new, welcome, and I hope you hit the subscribe button and stick around for a little bit. Today is going to be another episode of Read with Kayla. Read with Kayla is a series I do every other week where I talk to you about the books I've read. This one's a week late because I was out of town for a week during April, and so I didn't really read very much. So I wanted to wait until I had a couple more books to talk to you about. This one still is going to be pretty short. There's only 4 books. But they were all very good, so I'm excited to talk to you about them. If you want more information, links to buy them, links to their Goodread pages, all of that, and a written version of my review, you can head over to the blog, StyledByKaylaXO, where I also do a blog version of Read with Kayla, and make sure you're following me on Bookstagram at ReadWithKaylaXO. So, 4 books this week. I was gonna say not a lot of variety, but there's a decent amount of variety. So we're gonna start with the books that I read on my trip. I tend to bring like romance novels, things I can read in one flight on a trip. So I have 2 of those. The first is Act Your Age, Eve Brown by Talia Hibbert, which I gave 4 stars. I love all 3 of the Brown sisters books. I don't know who's my favorite. I don't know which one's my favorite. I relate a lot to Chloe and a lot to Danny, but then also a lot to Eve. I think if I had to pick the one that I relate the closest to, it's probably still Chloe. Maybe. I'm not quite sure, but it's all wonderful. All these books are wonderful. I love the family dynamic that Talia Hibbert has created with these 3 sisters. I too am one of 3 sisters, so it's just like a really cool dynamic to see. And she writes really unique love stories that feel very real, and each of them feels very different. Like, each of these sisters is so distinct, and so are their love interests, and so are the way their relationships come together. So this one is a bit of an enemies to lovers, whereas, which also the first one kind of is. It's also kind of a, I would say Chloe Brown is enemies to lovers and a little bit of forced proximity. Danny is fake dating and friends to lovers. And then Eve is just like a well and true, I'd say also, it's actually also close forced proximity and enemies to lovers. So I love a good romance novel, and it's just beautiful. So essentially, Eve stumbles upon a bed and breakfast, causes some issues for the owner, ends up working there, and the rest is history. So I really love this book. I really love all of the books in this series. They're all kind of standalones, but the sisters and their love interests show up in each other's books. So I really enjoyed this one. It just came out last month, so it's still new, and I really enjoyed it. So that is Act Your Age, Eve Brown. Next up is another romance novel, another one in a series, another one about siblings. You know, that's just living my best life. But we've got An Offer from a Gentleman by Julia Quinn, which is Benedict's story in the Bridgerton series. I've been told that this is a lot of people's least favorite of the Bridgerton books. That they feel that it's like it's a Cinderella story essentially, and so they feel like it's very like cheesy, just Cinderella story. But I actually found this one, out of the 3 I've read, the most emotional, the most relatable. I cried on an airplane reading this. I felt very deeply connected to Sophie and Benedict's story. So there's that. I gave it 5 stars. I really enjoyed this. This is my favorite so far. I mean, like, I loved The Duke and I loved The Viscount Who Loved Me, but this one, so yeah, I found myself just like deeply connected to Benedict and Sophie, and I really enjoyed it, which is just really funny because I didn't expect to, because people whose input I trust have told me that it was their least favorite. When watching the TV show and reading the other 2 books that I've read so far, I didn't really connect with Benedict at all. So now I'm really excited for season 3 of the Netflix series, because this story, I mean, I cried on an airplane. So that tells you what you need to know about that. Next up is A Cuban Girl's Guide to Teen Tomorrow by Laura Taylor Namey. This book was so charming. I was a little wary at first because it's like the stereotypical girl goes through a hard time, family sends her away to find her way kind of story. So I was kind of like, am I gonna like it? I did. I loved it a lot. The romance is really cute. The self-discovery is great. There's pastries. There's a mystery. It was definitely a great 4-star read. So that is A Human Girl's Guide to Tea and Tomorrow by Laura Taylor and Amy. Okay. Last up. I had been putting this book off for a while. Because I'd heard things. And I've heard things about the one that comes next. And I heard it would anger me, but also delight me. And people were right. So that book is King of Scars by Leigh Bardugo. So I finished the Shadow and Bone trilogy and the Six of Crows duology early April. Maybe it was the last video. Maybe the last Read with Kayla was last time I talked about one of them. I think Crooked Kingdom was in the last Read with Kayla. And then I took a break. I went on a trip. The TV show came out. I watched the TV show 2.5 times. I rekindled my obsession with Ben Barnes. We're living the dream over here, okay? And so then after watching the show, I was about halfway through my second watch. I was like, it's time. I have to start King of Scars. I've got to do it. I gotta know what comes next after Crooked Kingdom for these characters. So I did it. I finished it immediately before filming this video. And I wanted to throw it against the wall at that ending, which obviously I won't spoil. But it made me really excited for things they could do with the TV show if they decide to go into this duology, because they haven't really confirmed if the show is going to continue into this duology. They've talked a lot about the trilogy and the Six of Crows duology, but they haven't really talked about what's going to happen once they bring Nikolai in, if they're going to like keep going into this or not. And now I want them to, but I also don't, but I also do. This book was so good. I think seeing these characters as older in the books now was a lot more interesting, because this one really focuses on Nikolai and Zoya and Nina, and seeing them as even 3 years older than they were in the Six of Crows duology, I think that makes me connect with them a little bit more, seeing them as they are getting older. They're in their early 20s now. So I think that was interesting. There's a lot more settings in this one, which was really interesting. And I appreciated that, especially after watching the TV show and they were jumping between settings so much in the TV show. It was cool to read one of the books where they're also doing that. I gave it 5 stars. I did love it. I'm very excited to read Rule of Wolves, but also terrified because a lot of people I trust have like gotten very angry in like the middle of Rule of Wolves, and so now I'm scared. But I'm also very excited to keep reading, because the cliffhanger they left us on, I wanted to scream, but Cameron is sleeping, so I didn't. So yeah, that is Rule of Wolves by Leigh Bardugo. The Christianverse is trying to kill me. Maybe eventually I'll do some content on Bookstagram about how I felt about the TV show, because I got lots of thoughts about it. But yes, so those are the 4 books for this Read with Kayla. I know, kind of underwhelming. Hopefully the next one will have a few more. But with traveling and work stuff, I just haven't had a lot of reading time. So yeah, that's it. So if you like this video, give it a big old thumbs up. Let me know your favorite book you read in April in the comments down below, or the book you are most excited to read in May. Hit subscribe if you're new, and I will talk to you in the next one. Bye!